Right now at 5, residents on Baseline Boulevard in Missouri witness crash after crash. We take a look at why this road claims so many victims.
And we've got another hot and partly cloudy day. Couple of pop-up storms possible again. A look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, working in the outdoors can take its toll this time of year. We have advice from the experts on how you can stay safe this summer.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday, halfway through this work week. It is June the 25th. And we've had this discussion before. Have you ever had those times where, it's not just 5 a.m., it's like very 5 a.m.? You're like really tired for some reason.
Is that you right now?
Yeah, that is absolutely, it's like very 5 a.m. right now. But don't worry, we got coffee brewing, so I'll get some of that and we'll be good to go. And coffee, iced coffee, probably a better idea as we roll into the afternoon with the heat once again across the region. We'll start with that look outside downtown Pittsburgh. And we're looking okay. We still have, we got a couple of stray clouds out there from some storms up to our north. Yesterday's pop-up storms, I want to talk about those real quick. But first, quick look also. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, looking great this morning. On to our future track first. So yesterday, before I decided it was time to start going to bed, I noticed that we had a couple of showers around Coffeyville. We had some down south. We had some out to the east. And looking back at the radar, we did have those pop-up storms in other places. So remember what we've discussed. The future track is simply telling us pop-up storms are a possibility. Is it a guarantee they're only going to be in these spots or they're going to be exactly where they are? No, of course not. So just remember, when we see them anywhere across the region, we could get a pop-up storm or two. And at window, again, the best window here is still between approximately 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. Otherwise, we're partly cloudy. And we are toasty once again across the area. Very warm start again also. 76 in Joplin, 75 in Pittsburgh. Got that southerly breeze and temperatures this morning. Cassville, Monette, not doing too bad, both at 72 as the cooler spots out there. Everybody else, for the most part, mid-70s and some upper 70s as we get this Wednesday underway. And not much changes. Each day, we update this thing. And the temperatures haven't really changed much, which to a degree is kind of a good thing. At least they're not, rising. They're not jumping, but they're not cooling back either. Low 80s by 9, upper 80s by noon. Highs again right about 90, so upper 80s, low 90s. Pop-up storm chances from 2 to 6. I love those winds at around 5 to 10 miles an hour out of the south. It'll be a partly cloudy night tonight, still warm though. And then we actually have increasing thunderstorm chances over the next couple of days. Those details in the full forecast, and of course that's coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, authorities charge a Lamar, Missouri woman with multiple felonies in connection with allegations of assault on a child. Tina Fiala faces 2 counts of felony domestic assault and 1 count of felony endangering a child. According to court documents, officers responded to a home in Lamar regarding a missing child. Authorities found the child with a large bruise on his upper lip and red marks on his face and eyelid. He said Fiala's had hit him and he ran away from home because he was afraid she was going to drown him. He told officers Fiala turned on the bathroom sink and clogged the drain. He claims she then tried to place the child's head under the faucet. Fiala remains in the Barton County Jail. A former McDonald County Schools custodian charged in connection with the camera found in the girls' locker room at McDonald County High School has requested a change of venue. Back in September, authorities charged Roger Copeland with multiple felonies, including felony sexual exploitation of a minor, after discovering the camera in the girls' locker room. Copeland had requested a change of venue from McDonald County, and while the special prosecutor in the case did not object, both sides must agree on the location by the time Copeland appears in court on July 29th. Otherwise, a decision will be made that day. You can read more about the history of this case on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, Missouri schedules its first execution of 2025. Lance Shockley was found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Patrol Sergeant Dwayne Graham outside his home in Carter County in March 2005. Testimony during the trial indicated Shockley killed Graham because he was investigating Shockley for involuntary manslaughter and leaving the scene of an accident. The execution is scheduled to be carried out on October 14th. Shockley's execution would be the first under Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, it seems to be a particularly dangerous road from minor fender benders to head-on collisions. Baseline Boulevard in Jasper County has seen a number of accidents in recent years. KOAM's Olivia Moss took a closer look to find out what leads to these accidents.
I see a lot more than we used to.
Tim Jeffers has lived on County Road 238 off of Baseline Boulevard for almost 10 years. And in that time, he has witnessed some bad accidents.
There's been at least probably 10 or 12 accidents, bad accidents, a couple of fatalities that I've been here and witnessed.
In recent years, the intersection of Baseline and Highway 43 has been the scene of several incidents, including 2 in the past month. From fatalities to mowed down mailboxes, those who live on or near Baseline know there is plenty to watch out for.
It's a pretty narrow road and there's a lot of commercial vehicles, semis that travel up and down through there, and there's a lot of wrecks involving semis up and down Baseline from 43 all the way up to, I-49.
Tri-Cities Fire Protection District Chief Richardson says that since 2021, 24% of total wrecks in the district have occurred on Baseline, and 75% of those wrecks involved injury or fatality.
While I don't think these accidents on Baseline are very unique, I think that we are starting to see an increase in injuries, usually due to speed. It does seem with high shoulders, uneven lanes, and pretty narrow bridges usually. It would seem that there's not a lot of room for error and pretty severe consequences when there is an error or mistake made.
As for the corner of Baseline and Highway 43, accidents at this intersection often occur when a driver doesn't stop at the stop signs.
The intersection, it is marked with a stop sign, but a lot of folks that aren't from around here don't know that it's just a one-way stop. And
we've seen, unfortunately, usually fatal accidents at the intersection of Baseline and 43 Highway. This is usually due to a driver not stopping at the stop signs on Baseline and proceeding into traffic. We absolutely never want to see this. This is worst case scenario.
And sometimes worst case scenarios do happen.
At the end of the day, that is our job. That is our career. But at the same time, what we would always prefer, what we always would love to see more of, is less accidents. We have these skills, we have this equipment, but we would all be happier not to use it.
Reporting in Jasper County, I'm Olivia Moss, KOAM News.
Chief Richardson says that watching your speed, staying off cell phones, and paying attention to traffic signs are steps we can all take to be safer on every road. Well, for those who work outside in this heat, cooling off is a necessity. We caught up with a landscaping company in Joplin who is facing the sun head on and has some tricks up their sleeve when it comes to beating the heat.
I mean, it's a mixture of a lot of things. We definitely take a lot of breaks. We make sure we have a lot of cold beverages. We make sure if there's shade on the property, like at this property, there's a lot of shade. So we make sure if there's shade, we go take a seat in the shade every once in a while. But really, you just kind of gotta, as much as it sucks to say, you gotta push through it.
According to the Mayo Clinic, one sign of heat stroke is when the core body temperature reaches 104 degrees Fahrenheit. If it does happen, you should seek medical attention. And one location people can go is the First Church of Nazarene in Joplin. The church opens its doors when the heat index reaches 97 degrees. The lead pastor says they want to be there for the people.
We've just seen a lot of tragic things come from the heat. We've had, last year we had 3 or 4 people had heat strokes. We actually lost somebody 2 summers ago from the heat, and God just put it in our heart to be able, to make sure that we are caring for those that, don't have a place.
The church will even come pick you up where you are, anywhere in Joplin. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. President Trump is in Europe to meet with NATO leaders as the Israel and Iran ceasefire unfolds. And we have another hot and particularly partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch, President Donald Trump is in Europe this morning for NATO meetings. The summit kicked off just hours after the president announced a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. And as new preliminary reports are coming in about the results of the U.S. attack on Iranian nuclear sites, Jared Hill is following the latest in New York, including the deep split among everyday Americans over support for those strikes.
President Donald Trump appearing with NATO leaders in the Netherlands, with Israel and Iran still top of mind. The ceasefire holding after President Trump blasted both sides before leaving the U.S.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Now his frustration has turned to an initial assessment from his own intelligence community. The report says last weekend's strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites may have only set their program back a few months, according to 3 sources familiar with the contents. Officials have cautioned that the early assessment could change with more information. This morning on social media, President Trump declared the sites completely destroyed.
When you can't solve it diplomatically, you use overwhelming military power to solve it, and then you get the hell out of there before it ever becomes a protracted conflict.
A CBS News poll shows that a majority of Americans disapprove of the strikes against Iran, though there's a huge partisan divide. As tensions appear to be calming in the Middle East, they're growing on Capitol Hill.
The American people deserve to know the facts.
Democrats and some Republicans are demanding answers on President Trump's decision to launch strikes without consulting Congress. Classified briefings are now pushed to Thursday. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Yesterday, President Trump told reporters he is not seeking a regime change in Iran, adding that it would bring chaos. And still to come, doctors are warning parents that declining child vaccination rates are fueling preventable disease outbreaks. Plus, Chris returns with another look at your Wednesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, a couple of dogs were barking up the right tree when they encountered a black bear in their yard. As Olivia Michael reports, the encounter was caught on video.
No! Marty, come! A bear scare in Rutland Sunday morning. 2 dogs going head-to-head with a black bear, one of them leaving their mark. The dog's owner says she was shocked to see it all unfold in her backyard.
We set the dogs outside. They love to be outside. And we heard one of the dogs barking. So as a courtesy to the neighbors, we went to go bring the dogs in. And as I opened up my slider, I noticed there is a bear in the tree.
Paige Josti says it's not unusual to see bears on her property, but this was the first time her dogs came face to face with one.
This was the first up close and personal with a bear.
She says the bear looked young and she doesn't think it was trying to hurt the dogs.
I think the poor bear was just strolling through and my dogs were interested. Then he went up the tree and it was game on.
But Josti says she feared the worst as she watched the animals interact.
The bear kept sliding down the tree and to the dog's level, and my fear was that he was actually going to swat at one of the dogs, and I was about to witness something absolutely terrible.
But the underdogs put the bear on the defensive, showing they don't just bark, they bite. The bear eventually ran off, and dogs went back in the house. Josti called animal control to come check out the scene and make sure everything was safe.
Fortunately, it seemed like my dogs may have had the upper hand because they just kept chasing him right back up the tree.
The owner says her dogs are herd-protecting breeds, and animal control explained it's in their nature to go after predators.
According to animal control, he said my dogs did exactly what they were supposed to do, which was to get the bear up the tree.
The dog's owner says she found bear fur on the ground and claw marks on the tree, but her dogs were unhurt. Let's head over now to Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got another hot day out there, and we'll have another hot day Thursday. We got rain chances, though, building by Thursday afternoon and evening. Now look at your forecast when we go. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Just now 5:22 on this Wednesday morning. We're going to start, of course, with tomorrow's temperatures real quick, so we'll talk about today in a moment. We're going to be climbing back into the upper 80s, low 90s. This is really, I assure you, we're not just recording one weathercast and then replaying it all week. We are here. We are live. I'm right here, right now. It's just not much is changing, but there are some good changes, or at least some nice, decent, somewhat helpful changes over the next couple of days, but it does come with a catch, and we'll talk about that in a moment. We go into our Friday. It's going to be another one of those days, climbing back into the low to mid 80s and eventually back to the upper 80s near 90. That's going to be the one consistency, is our temperatures don't really change a lot over the next several days. We do get a little relief, at least evening and overnight relief from the heat as we go into Thursday and early Friday. Here we go to Saturday, once again, back up into the upper 80s, getting close to 90 degrees. So what are we talking about with rain? Well, I know we've been talking about pop-up storm chances. We had some yesterday. We've got some today. Tomorrow, though, things change a bit. So here's what we're looking at today. So here we are at 3. Again, remember, Future Track is showing us pop-up storms are possible. Yesterday, it showed pop-up storms really only east of I-49. And while we didn't have anything too crazy, we did get some showers around Coffeyville, south of Parsons yesterday evening, late afternoon, early evening. So just because it's only showing them here doesn't mean they will be confined to there. But we will have that opportunity again between 2 and 6 today. Now, what's changed for Thursday? Well, that for starters. Remember yesterday, you may recall, we started talking about some late night, early morning Friday rain chances, thunderstorm chances. Those are still there. So here's what we're looking at. By tomorrow tomorrow. Like I said, it's not enough coffee yet. Tomorrow afternoon, evening, we start to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially into southeastern Kansas. Believe it or not, a couple of these could be strong, possibly low-grade severe. It's still somewhat early. We'll go over that with you in a moment. Then as we go later into the night, couple more rounds of initially fairly isolated storms. There's going to be just a handful out there, but then they start to get slightly more organized very early Friday morning. So here we are at 5 a.m. So stretching back through Bates, Lynn, Bourbon County toward Chanute, down toward Coffeyville, Independence, showers, thunderstorms, and a strong storm or two is possible. By 8 o'clock Friday morning, it's passing through Pittsburgh, Lamar, now rolling out of Nevada, heading into Stockton and approaching the I-44 corridor. Then we could get redevelopment back behind it across parts of Labette, Montgomery, and Newata counties, and that'll try and push east. Doesn't really move very much, but eventually it dies out. So I mentioned there's that chance of a strong storm or two. This is what we're looking at right now for tomorrow, and it's going to be the storms through the afternoon and into early Friday. Very low tornado risk, very low hail risk. No areas highlighted. And some good news, while we do have this wind threat, it's that 1 out of 5 level. So we're talking it's a low, it's an isolated damaging wind risk, but it is there. It's something we certainly want to monitor. Now, the other thing that's going to be helpful is, our heat risk today doesn't look fantastic. Tomorrow, between rain chances heading from Thursday into Friday, slight improvements. Unfortunately, Saturday we go right back to the uncomfortable levels, but take a look at what happens as we roll into next week. That's Monday and Tuesday. We start settling into a minor heat risk. Now, it's still going to be hot, yes, but temperatures and heat index values more so are going to improve. Upper 70s to start the day, mid 80s once again by 11 o'clock. That same old broken record. South winds today 5 to 10. We'll get those pop-up storm chances. Then we'll see what happens with these thunderstorms heading into the afternoon, evening, and overnight Thursday into Friday morning. Still in the low 90s. Hot through the weekend. And then, look at that. A few more thunderstorm chances, maybe even some showers out there as we roll into next week. And maybe, unfortunately, a pop-up storm or two for the 4th of July. Nothing too crazy expected at this point, but could see a light rain shower here or there. Let's check your forecast. We're going to send it over to Elise with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. A warning from doctors. Vaccination rates for children have stalled around the world. A new analysis published in The Lancet shows more than 15 million children worldwide haven't received any life-saving vaccines. There are currently several outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases, including polio overseas and measles here in the U.S. The report says addressing vaccine availability and misinformation about vaccines is critical. And the number of Americans with health insurance rose significantly over the last 4 years. A report by the CDC showed the percentage of Americans who are uninsured dropped from 9.7% in 2020 to 8.2% in 2024. However, that still leaves 27 million Americans who have no health insurance coverage. And social media may be influencing more teens to use cannabis or e-cigarettes. New surveys conducted by Keck School of Medicine of USC found teens who saw influencers or celebrities using e-cigarettes or cannabis on popular social media sites were more likely to start using them themselves. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, kids at Columbian Elementary in Carthage find a fun way to beat the heat.
And it's going to be another hot one, although the sunrise looks pretty this morning. We'll talk about that and our pop-up storm chances coming up.
Plus, some super teachers from around Southwest Missouri get singled out for honors in Webb City.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday. It is June the 25th, and we are now that much closer to the end of the month, which means 4th of July is a week from this Friday,
right, certainly
which is kind of crazy.
Yes.
And of course, we're over halfway through the year now. There's all these fun, exciting things to tabulate in
Lots
June.
of milestones. Here we go.
Certainly so. And we've got not so exciting, the heat still sticking around.
But that sunrise, like I'm looking at it from over here. Very beautiful.
Beautiful this morning. We got another view of it from downtown Pittsburgh. Now this beautiful sunrise is courtesy of storms, again, way off to our north. But like yesterday, the clouds are reaching down into our area. But it does look quite nice across the region. Temperatures, though, fairly mild. I mean, it feels more like we should be in the middle of the afternoon in like April, but that's all right. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line. Another view again, the clouds, storms up to our north, and right now the MoDOT camera here has a good view of what those clouds look like stretching back to the north and to the west. But again, no storms for us this morning. We'll be dry through the day. We'll clear out actually once again in the morning. Then we'll start to go mostly clear, partly cloudy this afternoon, and between 2 and 6 p.m. another round of pop-up storms possible. But as we learned yesterday was our first real day of pop-up storm chances. Future Track again showed a couple of them east of I-49. Is that exactly what happened yesterday? No, it was not. We had a couple of showers around Coffeyville, Independence, south of Parsons. So they really, as we've mentioned, can be anywhere. Their Future Track's just letting us know that that possibility does exist. And remember, with pop-up storms, there's nothing specific triggering them. So Future Track has a hard time picking up on them because they are truly pop-up storms. They're random. They just appear thanks to the heating of the day. 76 in Joplin right now, 75 in Pittsburgh, and bear in mind also our average low should be closer to 70, so we're still above that for just about everybody. A little cooler, Monette, Cassville both sitting at 72, a little warmer, Miami, Veneta both sitting at 77, and we've just got that mixed low, mid, and upper 70s for the rest of us. We're in the low 80s again by 9, upper 80s by noon. I swear I'm telling you the same thing over and over now. 90s, low 90s for our highs, maybe some upper 80s by 6, pop-up storm chances, south winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now, the good news is this will start to change a little bit because we do have some increasing shower and thunderstorm chances by tomorrow afternoon. Details on that here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, Carterville plans to conduct smoke testing of the city's sanitary sewer system this week. The city says testing helps identify breaks or improper connections in the sewer system. Residents may see white smoke coming from sewer vents, manholes, or even inside their home if there are plumbing issues. The city warns residents to avoid inhaling the smoke and ventilate any areas where smoke is located in their home. Testing is scheduled to take place tomorrow starting at 5:30 in the evening. For more information, including a list of target testing areas, you can head over to KOAMNewsNow.com. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Well, some super teachers were recognized yesterday by the Southwest Center for Educational Excellence in Webb City. 13 nominees from districts across Southwest Missouri were honored at the Regional Teacher of the Year celebration. A committee made up of area educators and community members helped select 2 of the nominees to represent Southwest Missouri in the statewide competition for Missouri Teacher of the Year. Organizers say it's important to recognize the impact of teachers who often go underappreciated.
What these teachers all have is just the ability to love and teach kids, and that is a special human, but they truly love what they do. There is no better job.
Now, 2 teachers who will compete at the state level are Jennifer Shook from Verona and Carrie Mattingly from the Wheaton School District. And warmer temperatures didn't dry out the fun for some Carthage Elementary students yesterday. Students at Columbian Elementary celebrated Water Day. The day has students enjoying time outside at various stations featuring water activities. Now, those activities ranged from water shooter target practice to jumping in sprinklers with the Carthage Fire Department. The school principal says it's a great way to have kids be excited about summer school. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Ford is recalling its Lincoln Aviator SUVs over a safety hazard that could increase the risk of a crash. Plus, a major shakeup in Minnesota basketball as new owner takes control of the Timberwolves and the Lynx. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, it's the most popular search engine and one of the most profitable companies in the world. So why does Google sell advertisements to people purporting to be companies they are not? Tim Michaelis has an answer.
When I'm not reporting the news, I'm a frequent Amtrak rider. Recently, I Googled Amtrak customer service, and the first 3 results showed websites or phone numbers that don't belong to Amtrak, even though the links stated Amtrak or Amtrak phone number.
I think that that's pretty terrible.
Laura Black says she called a number listed on another site, thereservationsdesk.com, and paid them $356 to upgrade her Amtrak trip from New Orleans to Charlottesville back in March.
It was a fraudulent ticket. I was actually really shocked the fact that you can Google something and at the top hit, it's a scammer. Like, how does that happen?
Amtrak and Google both describe the listings as, quote, scams. So how do they rise to the top of the search results? Turns out they are sponsored listings or ads, and the tech giant says they've suspended the accounts. Google would not agree to an interview for this story, but said in an email it removed 146 million ads last year for misrepresentation, with some blocked before they could be posted. The company admits that even though ads go through automated or human reviews, alleged fraudsters adapt and sometimes find ways to show Google different content than they later show users. We dialed the number Laura Black called, and whoever answered said they don't sell train tickets and know nothing about thereservationsdesk.com. We discovered shortly after we reached out that the website had been taken down.
Now I have to fight with my credit card. It's going to be 2 months till I see that money back. If I see it back, there's no guarantees, and it's unfortunate.
Amtrak says customers should stick to booking tickets directly through Amtrak.com or with the app. Tim McNicholas, CBS News, New York.
Ford is recalling nearly 133,000 Lincoln Aviator SUVs. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says parts could become detached from the vehicle, creating a hazard for other drivers and increasing the risk of a crash. The recall affects model years 2020 to 2025. Owners can take their vehicles to a Ford dealership for a free repair. And the NBA's Board of Governors has unanimously voted to approve the sale of controlling ownership of the Minnesota Timberwolves and the WNBA's Minnesota Lynx to former Major League Baseball star Alex Rodriguez and businessman Mark Lohr. The $1.5 billion deal is expected to be finalized by the end of the week. The transfer ends Glenn Taylor's 3 decades as owner of both teams. Taylor and his wife, Becky, released a statement saying, quote, Our love for this organization and this community remains as strong as ever. We will always be fans. And good news for those who like to dine out with their dogs. Caesar Canine Cuisine is bringing back its Caesar Restaurant Weekend. Over the weekends of July 12th and 19th, the company is sponsoring events at restaurants in Los Angeles, New York, Nashville, and Chicago. Pet parents can enjoy meals that complement Caesar's offerings for their furry friends and take home doggy bags full of swag. And that's a look at Consumer Watch this morning. Here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
We've got a few clouds out there, and for some is leading to a very nice sunrise this morning. We do have those pop-up storm chances. It's going to be hot again, and then increasing storm chances by Thursday afternoon and early Friday. We'll have a full look at your forecast right after this.
Well, the USDA is canceling a rule that impacts many national forests. We have details in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. USDA is rescinding a rule that prohibited road building and logging on all national forest land without roads. It was known as the 2001 roadless rule that adds up to about 59 million acres of U.S. national forest land. Now, USDA is saying in a news release that the outdated administrative rule contradicts the will of Congress, and pulling it will allow for fire prevention and responsible timber production. USDA said in total 30% of the National Forest System lands were impacted by the rule. North Dakota's State Ag Commissioner is calling the impact to agriculture from a recent derecho tremendous. Tornadoes were reported along with wind gusts exceeding 100 miles per hour. Now, the commissioner said total damage is still being tallied, but there are reports of damage to farms, including grain bins, equipment, and irrigation systems. The North Dakota Monitor reporting the commissioner estimated the loss of grain storage to be tens of millions of bushels. And McDonald's and Krispy Kreme are ending their partnership. The company saying McDonald's will stop selling Krispy Kreme donuts on July 2nd. The deal had placed donuts in 2,400 of the fast food giant's restaurants, but the partnership was paused in May amid a sales slowdown. Krispy Kreme CEO said that efforts to bring costs in line with demand were unsuccessful, making the partnership unsustainable. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or get updates over at agweb.com.
Now let's head over to Chris for a full look at your forecast.
It's going to be another hot one today, and it's going to be hot tomorrow. But here's the deal. We're not that over the top on our temperatures. We're a bit above normal. What's getting us is a couple of things. One, our overnight lows since summer began have been 5 to 10 degrees above normal consistently. And the heat index values have been pushing 100 to 105 off and on since summer began as well. It's truly like when summer started last Friday that a switch was flipped. We went from average or even below average temperatures for a good portion of the start of this year, and then suddenly it's just toasty. So that's, I think, been the hardest adjustment. We go into our Thursday, still toasty out there. But again, remember, our average high is about 88. And so we're only 2-3 degrees above normal, but it's the humidity that's going to kill us. It's, however, going to give us a break as we head into next week with some increasing rain chances, or at least a few more rain chances. But we have storm chances possible going from Thursday afternoon into Friday, the first half of our Friday, which we're going to show you in a moment. That doesn't really have a big impact on our temperatures. In fact, it may actually make some areas a little muggier because you'll get the rain early in the day and then it clears out and you're just left with all that moisture. Makes it even muggier. We go into our Saturday and once again, temperatures pushing 90. The good relief from the humidity side of things won't start to arrive until next week. On to the future track for today. It's another day just like yesterday. Those pop-up storm chances between 2 and 6. Just like yesterday, though, future track only showing pop-up storms, like a couple of them, mainly east of I-49. Is that what we got yesterday? No, we did get a few out west. Most of them, from what I saw, were east of I-49, a few more off to our east, closer to Springfield toward Rolla. But we did get some outside of that. That's going to be a possibility again today. Well, partly cloudy skies overnight and into the start of our Thursday. So here's what changes. Take a look Thursday noon. We have some severe threats again off to our west. In fact, it's very similar to what it was yesterday in terms of the risk areas. However, it gets a little closer. So by Thursday, late afternoon, early evening, we start to get shower and thunderstorm chances, mainly in the southeast Kansas. And they kind of reach right here, and it's like they're hitting this brick wall, and they start to fizzle out a bit before more come in by late Thursday evening. Some of those could be strong to low-grade severe. Then those will die out in roughly the same spot. A third round of some scattered storms starts building in around midnight, but this round is going to be able to, at least data seems to suggest, it's going to be able to get a little more organized. Could be strong, low-grade severe. This is us by 2 o'clock Friday morning. So now outside of Yates Center, but back toward Burlington, down through Chanute, to the southeast of Fredonia, Coffeyville, Independence. And then by 5 a.m., now we've got it Bates, Lynn, Bourbon County, stretching over toward Chanute, near Parsons and Coffeyville. And again, a strong or low-grade severe thunderstorm could be possible. And that will continue, especially as it rolls over towards Stockton, passes through Nevada, around Lamar, some strong storms possible back toward Pittsburgh through Cherokee County. Then those kind of fizzle out as they enter the Missouri side on the southern edge. And we do get more redevelopment that tries, but also runs into kind of that brick wall and fizzles out. So what are we looking at? We do have a low severe threat or an isolated severe risk. Nothing highlighted for a tornado or hail threat, which is fantastic. And while we do have this wind damage risk area, it is only a level 1 out of 5. Now that doesn't mean it isn't something we don't want to watch. We want to keep an eye on it. Gusty winds are certainly going to be possible, but thankfully it could be a lot worse. Between here and Thursday, the rain does help a little bit with our heat risk as we go into Thursday and especially Friday, but by Saturday, it starts to pick back up to unpleasant levels again. Upper 70s, near 80 by 8 o'clock. Clear skies out there. Mid 80s by 11 a.m. Our highs today, once again, right around 90. South winds 5 to 10. Southwest winds a little gusty tomorrow, pushing 25 at times. Holding on low to even possibly mid-90s into the weekend. Then we get more shower and thunderstorm chances to start next week and a little more cloud cover, and that will help bring our temperatures a little down and bring our humidity levels down a little as well, decreasing our heat risk. Let's check your forecast. We're sending it over now to Elise with sports.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, the Joplin Outlaws are off to a 16-6 start to their season, which has them tied for first place in the Mid-America League entering yesterday. Early start at Joe Becker Stadium, 12:05 first pitch between the Joplin Outlaws and Piney Woods Timberhogs. Now we're scoreless in the top of the third. Timberhogs have a runner on first base, and Cy Darnell snags this line drive at a short, then quickly fires to first in time for the double play. Nice play from the Missouri Southern sophomore. Then Outlaws starting pitcher Blake Sebastian gets a swinging strikeout to end the frame. Top of the fourth, former Outlaw and last year's playoff MVP CJ Sepicki gets things started with a double. Next batter, Keslin Douglas hits a chopper that gets through the infield. Sepicki will score and Piney Woods strikes first. It's 1-0. And they don't stop there. Later in the inning, bases loaded, and Dalen Pena smashes his pitch to deep left center. Revenon Morgan tracking it to the wall, but it gets out for a grand slam. That gives the Timberhogs a 6-0 lead. The Outlaws come back to force extras, but Piney Woods takes its final score 7-6. Pittsburgh State Athletics announced yesterday that they've broken ground on a new location, which will serve as the dedicated facility for the Gorillas track and field program. It's located between the Bicknell Family Center for the Arts and the Crossland Technology Center. PSU anticipates construction will be finished by March of next year. That's a look at sports. We'll be right back. Well, if you're like many Americans, when you get thirsty, you reach for water. But what researchers from Scotland's St. Andrews University found may surprise you. They compared the hydration responses of several different drinks and found milk is a better option. That's because milk has sugar, fat, and protein, all of which help to slow the emptying of fluid from the stomach and keep hydration happening over a longer period. Milk also has sodium, which acts like a sponge and holds on to water in the body. And it's a day to celebrate a popular Southern staple. Today is National Catfish Day. The freshwater fish are named that because of their prominent barbels, which resemble cat whiskers. Now, did you know that these nocturnal swimmers also have no scales? Many catfish lovers enjoy coating the fish in cornmeal and frying it up for a crunchy delight, but the fish is also delicious grilled or baked. The most common varieties for the dinner table are the channel catfish and blue catfish. Catfish is an excellent source of vitamin D.
I had no idea how much vitamin D I was getting. My dad used to take me fishing to this lake in Carthage, or just, I guess it's northeast of Carthage when I was a kid, and there were a lot of catfish in this lake. I haven't been up in years, but little
go get
did I
yourself
know.
some today.
Yeah, but maybe I need to head up that way again. But yeah, we'd go up, we'd leave at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and now I also know that. I'm not a very educated person on certain things, so I didn't know they were nocturnal. That makes sense why we would leave at 3 a.m. too. So, all right, I had a lot of fun, and today really not a bad day for fishing as long as you get some shade, stay hydrated, and apparently maybe bring some milk with you instead of the water, whatever. The milk though doesn't last as long in the heat as the water does, but it's not my thing. All right, near 80 again by 8, and I promise you, I update this every day. It's just there's not a lot of changes. Mid 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. We'll start to see some clouds as we roll into the afternoon between 2 and 6, an opportunity for another isolated pop-up storm or two, and highs right around 90. Into the evening, those storm chances wrap up. Clouds increase a bit overnight, back down to the low to mid 70s again, partly cloudy skies. We get beyond that, 90s again into the weekend, maybe even some mid 90s by Saturday, so we want to keep an eye on that. Thunderstorm chances Thursday afternoon through the first part of our Friday, and maybe a strong storm or two, and more pop-up storm chances as we start next week. Let's check your forecast. Got another hour of the KOAN Morning News up next.